Hello.
Welcome back to Umineko.
Hey, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Hanging out with George Kun.
I hope so, otherwise this save has loaded the wrong one, which we've done a few times. There we go.
Anyway, let's get on with it.
Whew. So, if you lost, go watch the last few minutes of the last episode, because we spent so long talking about it, we can't do this again.
We're not doing it again, we're just gonna get right into it, because otherwise we'll be for another hour.
As we were saying 2 episodes ago, there's the first recording of the day where we go on about bullshit for 20 minutes, there's the second recording of the day where we go ham, and then there's the ones after that where we're just burnt out.
It's okay.
We're so spent.
I'm ready to be burnt out.
Too much.
After that emotional journey.
Oh, it's too much.
Alright, let's keep going.
Oh boy. You can't believe it.
I can't believe it. Are you saying that's the truth?
What's the truth?
I don't know.
Yes.
Run-on game.
We told you everything as we saw it.
George folded his arms and started mumbling again. And the kitchen was once again wrapped in a long silence. Let's be clear, we got Battler, Rosa, and Maria in the other room. And everyone else is,
and all of the culprits in this room.
Except for Kinzo and Beatrice, the human Beatrice. George-sama, I am fully aware of how hard it must be for you to believe all that so suddenly. After all, even though I saw it with my own eyes, I grew less and less sure what it was I actually saw. I'm sure I saw it, and I'm sure I got into a fight too, and yet I almost feel like it was all an illusion. Oh shit. I see. So that's why you couldn't go into the details in front of Aunt Rosa. If you actually told her what you just told me, you'd probably be in even more trouble.
Yeah, and Battler would have been there, which would have been really strange.
Yeah, Genji-san really did handle that one composedly, didn't he? If only I had the power to explain it myself.
I love specific word choice.
The power of a witch or a demon. George had not actually seen the witch, but even when pressed to believe, he just couldn't imagine it. It was only natural, because even the people who had actually seen it had given up asking themselves what it was. Let's rewind the story a bit. Shannon, you said that when you thought Kaneko was an imposter, you picked up some spiderwebs and came back, right? Why did you do that? That's right, I was thinking about that as well. Why spiderwebs? Yeah, why spiderwebs, Shannon?
I happened to hear it from Kumasawa-san once. A long time ago, even evil spirits lived on Rekenjima, and they feared spiderwebs. And they say there's a legend that people treasured spiderwebs as amulets. And right at that moment, I think I was also a bit confused.
When it comes to those old stories, Kumasawa was very knowledgeable.
Past tense.
Yes. Well, spiders are very useful bugs after all. Yeah, it wouldn't be at all strange for a belief system like that to come into being.
I'm sure that the Tori Shrine was suppressing the power of those evil spirits. And because the spirit mirror was broken by no one in particular, that power came back. That power must be what allowed Beatrice-sama to revive.
There's some mysterious person.
If I, weak-hearted as I am, hadn't done such an outrageous thing...
Oh shit. Shannon, you don't have to worry about that anymore. I don't blame you for it. Since long ago, Shannon had often suggested there was some kind of occult cause for her meeting with George. After listening to her, George had grown to think that she was being a typical girl associating love with fate, chance, and miracles. He did think that smashing the spirit mirror offered at the Tori Shrine was taking it a bit far, but he'd laughed it off and forgiven her, thinking of it as just a... Wait, hold on. So he knew about this? Oh shit. Thinking of it as just a prank that showed how serious she was about her relationship with him. Just breaking a mirror in some musty shrine wouldn't have changed the fate of our meeting. And it would never cause any curse.
Never.
Never. He tried to cheer up, saying it was only a musty mirror covered in dust.
I will say this is a scene without Battler, so...
So maybe he doesn't know
Maybe
at
he
all.
doesn't actually know.
I don't know. It's up to you to figure that out. Ever since I started working on this island, I've heard the story of a spirit called Beatrice-sama from several co-workers. In the beginning, I thought it was ridiculous, but since it would appear indiscreet to say anything out loud, outwardly I conducted myself as though I also believed it. But could it really...
She existed. Beatrice-sama was in this mansion all along, but she'd lost her powers and wasn't able to appear before us. She did exist all this time. It's just that we couldn't see her.
I'd like to think Genji-san's opinion. Hear Genji-san's opinion.
Nice.
Sorry. I have no opinion. I am furniture. All I want to say is that at that time, there were 5 of us in this room. Then I thought that Cannon had returned through the back door. After that, we carried him to the servant room. Something happened, and now Dr. Nanjo and Kumasawa will never come back to us.
The other... Actually...
Yeah?
Now that I think about it...
Oh, no.
The other thing that might have happened, and I'm going to be brief about this...
burnt out and not ready to theorize at all.
Too late. It's too late.
God damn it.
The other thing is, that maybe bullshit happened on the way getting them to the room, and then they locked the room to, like, get the fuck away from it.
Right, so you think they have another reason? Somebody did lock the room, like maybe Genji locked the room, like there's shit in there or something happened in there, like we spilled some paint, and then they just didn't want to deal with it.
We spilled some paint.
They were like, if we told Aunt Rosa that we had spilled some paint, they'd think we were trying to create a murder mystery, and that wouldn't end well.
But yeah. Because the whole thing is that locked rooms are about making it seem like a locked room, not it actually being a locked room.
Oh, you think so?
So maybe things happened outside and then were put in there.
This is possible. Anyway, let's continue.
Of course, that means all of the servants are lying for some reason, and we have to figure out what that is.
That is all. We have already explained everything we saw. I understand how unreasonable it would be to try and force belief from one who did not witness these events, such as yourself. How could he believe it? I was sure it was Shannon-san, but it got up from the bed, and that's right, it started to grope about that wound in its chest in that manner. I felt sure that it wasn't Shannon-san, but something else. A kind of goat. I doubt you'll be able to understand, George-sama. The terror of that moment when the person I thought I knew well exposed that it was in fact something else entirely. I can't explain. I can't explain it at all. I understand. I can tell that whatever happened, it was terrifying enough to give you such a shock. Thank you very much, George-sama. They all fell silent once again. Shannon kept crying no matter how many times she was consoled, thinking that listening to the witch's sweet whispers and breaking the spirit mirror on that day had been the mistake that ruined everything. The witch who whispered these things to you loses her powers if that mirror exists, right?
I think she explained it to me a little, but I don't really remember. I think she said something about how she couldn't release her power as long as that mirror existed.
What happened to this mirror that you broke?
I don't remember. I left it behind when I broke it, so it's probably just how I left it.
So when, as they say, the reef was struck by lightning and disappeared, it must have sank to the bottom of the ocean. Well, I doubt picking it up and taping it together would make it start working again. We're all gonna die.
What have I done?
Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. You didn't know if Shannon breaking the mirror really had started all this off.
What is this background?
I don't know. The servants didn't blame Shannon. They all seem to believe that her actions have been the root cause. I think it's the kitchen in shadow. But even now, George wasn't able to go that far. All this
I think
talk
that
about
might have been the image of the outside of the shrine.
Maybe. All this talk about witches and evil spirits just sounded fake to him, even though he was trying to be open-minded. Even so, he listened seriously to Shannon's story, trying to find a hint that might relieve at least a little of the pain in her heart. Come to think of it, though, it's surely different from the one in the Torii. I have heard that Madame keeps a spirit mirror as a charm. Really? A Nazi. Yes, I believe she received it as a memento from her grandfather or something, and that it functioned as a powerful ward against magic. A spirit mirror of high pedigree, I think. I have also heard the same story. Something about the mirror having the power to reflect that which is not good and send it back.
Yay!
Comes ideas, man. If we had that spirit mirror, we resist Beatrice since she's a witch.
Huh?
When George proposed this, the servants looked up.
Well, of course, the spirit mirror did Natsui real well, apparently.
Yeah. The shrine in the Torii where it was kept are gone now, but the important thing is that there's still another spirit mirror. I've heard that Anatsui's family is descended from Shinto priests. This is new information. Maybe that isn't just a simple mirror.
Why?
I'm sure I've heard Madame say she keeps it in a treasure box. It might not be very large.
I don't think its size is a problem. Even the mirror I broke was just a small, insignificant-looking thing.
If our opponent is a cult, then we'll have to use the occult to fight back. Sitting around here won't solve anything. It's worth trying, if only for some peace of mind. Of course, this doesn't mean that George had accepted the witch. However, he thought it'd be necessary to have some kind of purification ceremony to heal the wounds in Shannon's heart. So this story about Natsui's spirit mirror was really convenient. Let's go. I won't say anything crazy like let's go get it and finish off the witch. However, I think it'd be useful to have some sort of charm that can protect us from her. Maria-chan told me about it earlier, but the daughter grandfather's room was supposed to be able to repel magic, right? That's our grandfather for you. It means he was pretty good on defense when it comes to the occult. Let's go. To Aunt Natsui's room. But I think Madame's room is locked. We returned the master keys to Rosa-sama, and even the key box in the servants' room is now locked away. In that case, our Nazi should have had a key on her person.
Oh boy!
Going to the chapel, boys. Our Nazi's corpse should still be in the chapel. We probably shouldn't be disturbing it before the police come, but we can give a full explanation
We're
later.
going back to a crime scene again.
To the crime scene! However, the entrance to the chapel is also
No, we're
locked.
not going back to a crime scene.
Gohda-san, can't you break a single glass window with your physical strength? You could smash it with a nearby rock. That's great.
Would it really be okay to break the window of that important
Yes,
chapel?
people are dead! When grandfather gets mad at us, I'll take responsibility. From the beginning, I've been ready to fight the whole Ushimiya family today. I've got to get them to accept my engagement to you, so I've been prepared from the start. Let's break the glass, then let's borrow the key from Aunt Nazi's corpse. George's announcement that he'd take responsibility seemed to have given the servants a great deal of courage.
I love this.
Shannon and Gohda looked at each other. They loved each other as well, then looked at George's face again. Grandfather knows everything about the occult. I'm sure he'll understand if it's the power of Aunt Nazi's spirit mirror we're talking about. Don't worry, he won't get mad at you.
I wonder if Madame's mirror will really be able to seal Beatrice Summer once again.
I don't know, but I think it's worth trying.
Wasn't there a line specifically about Beatrice being all, oh, I can't beat the spirit mirror now, but if only I was more powerful, I could have just smashed it anyway.
Yeah, totally.
So this is just a fucking waste of time.
I'm excited. Let's see how this goes. So let's go. Let's try and kill a witch. It's getting darker and darker outside. Quickly. Shannon, get a flashlight. Gohda-san, find something that looks like it can break the glass. Sorry, Genji, but can you be on umbrella duty? Yes, sir! Oh. The servants, who have been rejected by Rosa, gained a new master and started to move.
You know exactly what the yes sir looked like in the anime. Just the fucking like hand to the chest
Standing
bullshit.
up straight. Yeah, totally. So inspirational. Let's keep going. George, who was normally calm and gentle, was now radiating dignity. Shannon checked the emergency flashlight, just in case she changed the batteries. Gohda was testing several heavy-looking cooking tools. Please take pots and pans. Normally, a highly praised chef like him would want to use them for something other than their intended
It's
purpose.
about to go straight fucking left for dead. Just pots and
now,
pans. And
but now he was frantic to fulfill the orders of the one he accepted as his master. After some worrying, he took a large, thick-filling frying pan!
yes!
Genji removed several umbrellas from the umbrella stand set in the corner near the kitchen door. He took 3 of them. Genji-san? I cannot go with you. It would be embarrassing for me as the head servant of the Oshumiya family if we were all gone when an order is given.
That's suspicious.
But Genji-san, even if you must understand how dangerous it is to be left alone in this mansion now. I cannot go. I must remain here so that the master can call for me at any time.
Kenji-sama.
Go and obey George-sama. Be careful not to make any blunders. Gohda, I am counting on you to set an example. Yes, leave it to me.
I will surely fulfill my duty.
As ominous. Sure about this, right, Genji-san? Yes. I am already at this age. All the days of my life until now have been spent repaying the debt I owe to the master. The roulette will decide the fate of a senile old man like myself. I will sit here and see what the result will be with my own eyes. As Genji said that, he sat down like a badass, as though saying that he didn't intend to discuss this anymore. His gaze fell to the chessboard that he played Najo on. When George saw this, he decided to leave Genji there. Let's go, everyone. It looks like the wind has died down a bit for now. When George took an umbrella and dashed down the hallway, Shannon and Gohda chased after him, each holding a tool.
Such a bad idea.
It's great.
Oh, I love
We're gonna
it.
do this! To the corpse room! After they flew out of the room, Genji quietly stretched his hand out to the side of the chessboard. He softly pulled something there towards himself, covering it with his palm.
Oh shit, what is it?
Genji killed his breathing even more than before. As he did, something flashed gold. From inside an ice pail set in the counter, a small gold butterfly appeared, softly and silently. It was almost as though it had seen George and the rest off and was trying to secretly chase after them.
Did he just stab a butterfly?
It happened in an instant. The elegant gold butterfly, flapping its wings, was pinned against the wall by the knife.
Yeah, boy!
Just like a butterfly in a bug collection. After the gold butterfly beat its wings several times, looking like it was in pain, it accepted the fact that it couldn't break free, became fine gold powder and smoke, and disappeared as though it had melted into water. Fucking Genji. Genji still gazed down at the chessboard as though nothing had happened.
Oh my god, I love Genji.
He's the best character! Maybe he would think
Everyone is the best character to you, but Genji is now actually the best to me.
Maybe he would think about brilliant moves very soon. But no matter what move he made, his opponent would not be able to respond for all eternity. Yeah, hold back the witch! Even though he knew that, Genji searched for a brilliant move. It must have been the perfect way to kill time, during the short period before some fate would be given to him. He didn't know what result the roulette would bring about, but that decision would be made very soon. No one could interfere with the tumbling roulette ball.
That was so good.
I need a second.
Oh, yes.
Okay, this is you.
The door to the parlor was not only locked, but blocked with a barricade made of sofas and the like. Because of that, Aunt Rosa seemed to suspect that any suspicious person approaching would break in through the window. Sitting on a one-person sofa, her back to the door, she continued to hold onto her gun. I didn't know what was what anymore, and even though my body and mind were worn out, I played with Maria as she wanted. Maria had said it. Beatrice was testing us to see if we could solve the epitaph of the gold, so we had to try and figure out this riddle. In the beginning, I was a little interested and tried to solve it, but I didn't even have a clue where to start in this weird text. I didn't doubt that there was some riddle hidden there, but I seriously doubted I'd be able to suddenly leap to an answer. In the middle part of the epitaph, there are the lines going from the 1st to the 10th twilight, telling us to journey to the Golden Land. The first twilight offered the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices. On the second twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the 2 who are close. It was obvious that this hinted at the first 6 murders that had already occurred in the chapel and Jessica and Cannonkin's murders. If this was being followed, we still had to be prepared for 5 more people to be killed. On the 4th twilight, gouge the head and kill. On the 5th twilight, gouge the chest and kill. On the 6th twilight, gouge the stomach and kill. 7th, gouge the knee and kill. 8th, gouge the leg and kill. Dr. Nanjo and Kumasawa Bachan's corpses still haven't been found. However, if this follows the pattern, the sacrifices for the 4th and 5th twilights, they'll surely be found in a pitiful state with their head and chest gouged. So can we expect that 3 more of us will be gouged in the stomach, knee, and leg and killed? Who will it be? I looked around the room, noticing that there were 3 people here, but how should I put it? My emotions seemed paralyzed. Strangely, I didn't feel frightened.
If only we had 3 people in an area together. If only that was a thing
Yeah,
that we
if
had.
only.
If only we had some people going to the chapel.
Yeah,
Anyway, continue, please.
I mean, I had noticed this. This is Umineko, after all.
Is this true?
As I leaned up against the sofa with the top part of my body gazing up at the ceiling, Maria noticed. Apparently, she felt I was slacking off in my riddle solving. She got mad at me for not taking this seriously enough. Hey, Maria.
Yeah?
What was it again that Beatrice said she'd do if we solved this? I'm sure the witch wrote it in her letter she'd give up on collecting interest or something abstract like that. I optimistically took that to mean she'd give up on killing the whole family, but was it really written with that meaning? For some reason, I couldn't convince myself that solving the riddle would really save me. I feel like maybe even if we do solve it, we'll just be doing what the culprit wants and it'll all be wasted effort. No, that's not true. Oh, this is you.
No, that's not true. If you solve the epitaph, Peter's ceremony will end. So after that, no more people will die.
Really? Isn't that rule just something she made up? Whoever solves this riddle will probably learn the location of Grandfather's hidden gold. And she'll definitely go after it and...
She won't go after it.
How can you be so sure?
The gold has been Beatrice's from the beginning. She wouldn't go after something that's hers.
Then why is Beatrice giving us all these big hints? Not just that, why did she even set up this game-like thing?
Risk is essential for magic.
Risk? I don't really know what you mean.
For example, in a marathon, do you think a medal anyone can get by running the whole thing is worth the same as the medal given to only the person who gets first?
No, I don't. So what does this mean? In the end, she's just playing with us? Purposefully giving us a chance?
Wrong! That's how magic works. No matter how great a work of magic is, it'll always have risk and weak points. No, it must have them.
I don't get this stuff you call magic, but if I think about it as a gamble, I can understand it a little. If you aren't prepared to lose big, then you can't win big. And the slimmer chances of winning, the bigger the payoff.
That's right. And Beato really did explain the risk of the ceremony to everyone. So, if this riddle is solved, the ceremony will be suspended. After all, if she breaks her promises, there wouldn't be any risk.
If we solve this, will she really keep her promise?
Why are flowers beautiful, even though they wither? Why is it that an artificial flower isn't beautiful no matter how elaborate it is, even when you can't tell the difference by looking? Humans can bring about miracles by gambling on their deaths. If an undying human existed, they'd have no way of bringing about a miracle.
What?
What the fuck is she talking about?
That's very strange.
That goes for us. Life, the witch, and the ceremony too. If we don't bear a risk, we can't succeed in anything. Good life advice.
What do we do if we solve the riddle? Should we raise a hand and cry, got it, tell the witch our answer and see what she says?
Ew. I don't know about that. But if we solve it, the ceremony will surely end automatically.
What? You sure know a lot, Maria. Do you learn all that from Beatrice?
Ew! That means yes.
I had gathered. So if you don't bear a risk, nothing can be gained, is that it? That definitely is the way of the world, but it's sort of in conflict with the chessboard thinking I like so much. It's almost like that's what he was told. At least when making moves in chess, players grope for the best move, always try to avoid risk, and hope for an advantageous turn of events. They don't trust a chance like in gambling. That's right, there's no room for gambling in an intellectual game. And yet this person called Beatrice had created such an outrageous crime, or maybe a ceremony, while purposefully imposing conditions for her own loss and announcing them to us. In chess, you always play your best move, so by putting yourself in your opponent's position, you can predict their next move. However, we can't be sure that Beatrice's moves are always the best moves possible. I thought she was probably making us focus on the epitaph to fool us in some way, speaking in riddles. But according to Maria, that alone was impossible. She said that this was a genuine risk that the witch had taken, and therefore proof that this was a formal ceremony for magic. I can't understand this witch called Beatrice. If she's committing this chain of murders with some goal in mind, why did she go to all the trouble of exposing the conditions for her defeat? No matter how I spin the chessboard around and think from my opponent's perspective, I can't understand why she'd give up if this riddle is solved.
You said something similar to that. In
What?
episode 1.
What did I
Why
say?
would Beatrice, if Beatrice wins by default, why would she tell us about the game?
Yeah.
Yeah. I see, that's interesting. Might be worth thinking about.
It is.
Why does Beatrice let us know what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, this is clearly meant to be the answer to that, but I feel like that's not it.
I mean, I'm not going to tell you that Battler's giving you answers right now, but he's definitely prodding questions.
Yeah.
I mean, does Beatrice care whether she wins or loses? This is a great question.
Of course, chessboard reasoning won't work against an opponent. Yawning. Won't work against an opponent like that. I don't understand. What is Beatrice after that's making her carry out this crime? If she just wanted to massacre us all, she could have done it quietly without this whole crazy setup. There was no need for that kind-hearted advance notice, all this self-aware closed room stuff, or any of the rest. It's all overacting. I've got no clue what it means. Will I be unable to understand everything as long as I keep thinking of Beatrice as a greedy human culprit? If I don't accept her as a witch, will my chessboard thinking be stuck before I've even lined up the pieces? If she really is a witch and everything Maria said is true, then there's only one thing for us to do. The theory building in Discord and searching for the culprit has all been pointless. We should have all gathered in the dining hall, combining our knowledge to solve the riddle. By combining the knowledge of that many people, we might have been able to grasp at least a thread of the answer. The greedy humans, each desiring to gain something over their opponents, were getting offered up as sacrifices one by one without gathering their knowledge together. In the end, did the humans get what they deserved? They thought they were using their brains, but they were actually thinking only of their greedy selves. In the end, chessboard theory is the thinking technique where you project yourself on your opponent. So greedy people seeing their greedy selves inside their opponents. I looked lazily at Aunt Rosa. She was probably tired from being under all this tension the whole time. She couldn't sleep, but she kept staring vaguely off at some point in space. Aunt Rosa had announced that we couldn't trust anyone who'd been killed. Aunt Rosa's chessboard thinking saw herself inside her opponent. In other words, maybe Aunt Rosa was an isolated woman, unable to trust anyone to let her guard down. Long ago, I think I heard a bit about it from my dad. Aunt Rosa was originally a very obedient child, but her age was too far separated from the other siblings, and they often made conflicting demands of her during their confrontations. Thanks to this, she'd undergone a lot of psychologically harsh experiences in her youth. Often when she copied one of her siblings, another sibling would give her a hard time. True, Aunt Rosa said many things that could be taken as abusive, but that means those words were once showered upon her, which is why they were engraved in her vocabulary. Many abusive words like that she'd spoken were also words that she'd been showered with in the past. Now that I think about it, I've had the feeling that her style of speech sometimes has traces of Uncle Krause's or Aunt Ava in it. I'd understood it as them being similar because they were siblings, but maybe it wasn't just that. For the first time, I truly sympathized with Aunt Rosa, whom I'd always assumed was just quiet and gentle. And what about Maria? Maria's been making a certain claim for a while now. If we can solve the riddle, the wish displayed to us, the ceremony will be halted and will definitely be saved. I think she also said that Beatrice will never break a promise. But this is Maria we're talking about. She herself never breaks promises, and she has the most innocent heart. So she believes Beatrice also won't break her promises. She's able to believe that. But isn't that just an image of Beatrice in Maria's mind? There's no proof that the real Beatrice always keeps her promises, right?
I keep my promises.
That was predictable.
Yeah. If you solve the riddle of the epitaph, you should be able to reach the Golden Land. When you do, the ceremony will end. No more people will die.
So you're saying a complete monster like you follows the rules?
I won't deny that I am a brutal and unjust and a monster. However, I am a witch. I use magic. In order to use magic, there are some rules that must be followed. Because I'm a witch, I cannot neglect those. You should believe at least that much.
So even after all the crazy stuff you've done, you're still telling me to believe at least in the rules?
I do play tricks. Of course, I also deceive people. I'm no different from humans in that regard, but not once have I disregarded a promise I've spoken. What about humans? Do you always keep your promises?
Since we have catchphrases like keep your promises, it's hard to imagine that we always follow them properly.
From my perspective, humans are the truly selfish monsters. There's nothing as dubious as a human's promise. Even I sometimes make contracts with humans, but you wouldn't imagine how strict an agreement must be made just to grant a single foolish wish. If there's even a small loophole, they'll immediately say something like, increase the number of wishes to 100, or you turn yourself into a bean.
There's the thing Dad always says. He says there's nothing as scary as contracts. According to him, it's only natural that people who sign without reading them thoroughly will get chewed to the bone. He's made a killing through vice.
Imagine it. When people are born, they know nothing of fraud. They get it from somewhere, and so they learn it.
Huh?
Yes, the crimes of the human world, where people must press up against each other. Let me see, I've heard that from a witch somewhere. Oh well. I'm not as heartless as you think, you see.
Liar. You killed so many people, and you did it in such horrible ways too. How could you not be heartless? You say you keep your promises? Don't say stuff like that. I won't accept you, ever. Even though I just did, in the last chapter.
Interesting thought. He's complaining that she's killing people, but his job is to deny her existence, meaning that she never killed anyone. Maybe something to think about.
That is a very interesting point.
I see. So you're saying this eternal torture will be the same for me? Perhaps. 1,000 years is a long time. Maybe a witch's true strength is decided not by their magical power, but by the strength of their endurance. Yes, I can accept how terrifying Lady Byrne is.
Damn you babbling on and on about this incomprehensible stuff. Let's quickly get back to this eternal torture. I'm prepared to stick around for 1,000 years or even 10,000 years.
Good, good. It looks like you've regained some of your old will to fight. It would be boring otherwise. Come now. Don't you often see it in competitive games? Sometimes one player intrudes on their opponent's territory, but the opponent is so weak that it's a bit of an anticlimax, so the first player loses on purpose to extend the game into the last round, during which they get serious and shower their opponent with blows, right?
I don't get what that means.
It's the same as wine. If you don't let it age well, it won't sparkle. You're the same as that wine. I'll carefully make you age. I'll raise you to be the best alcohol to adorn my elegant time. So don't give up after only this much. Keep on denying me. After all, as long as you don't accept me, I'm nothing more than a fleeting illusion.
Oh shit.
Chapel. Chapel boys now. No matter how many times I see it, it's awful. I truly sympathize. Shannon-san, please get the key. Even though she is dead, Madame is a lady. I cannot touch her.
Of course.
Shannon nodded sharply, her expression filled with a sense of duty. George, Gohda, and Shannon had broken a suitable window and were inside the chapel. Since they really hadn't wanted to break one, they'd searched for another way in just in case, but in the end, after proving once again that there was no way they could slip in through, it only became more obvious that this chapel was a mysterious closed room. Inside the chapel, time had stopped ever since the last time they'd left it. Even George wasn't able to approach that gruesome Halloween party again. It was only natural. It reminded him again of the sadness of losing both parents at once, and Gohda, thinking of the possibility that those corpses might have changed in some horrible way now that half a day had passed, didn't want to let George get near them. Shannon followed Gohda's instructions and approached the party table. Normally, Shannon might have resented having another dirty job forced on her, but now she could truly understand Gohda's mental state. Even though Gohda had prodigious skill, he'd gotten dragged into trouble, losing his job and ending up left out in the streets before Nazi gave him a new life. Though it had been just a casual employment decision for Nazi, Gohda must have thought it a turning point in his fate. Those around Gohda could see that he felt a special kind of loyalty to Nazi, so he probably didn't want to lose that feeling even after her death. Now that half a day had passed, the bodies of Nazi and the rest had changed completely. Small bugs sniffing out the smell of death had started to gather. It really wasn't something you'd want to look at directly.
Madam, excuse me.
Because of her long experience as a servant, Shannon had an idea of which pocket Nazi kept the key to her room in. It would probably be this pocket. Her guess didn't fail her. Just by touching the outside of the pocket, she was immediately able to feel it.
It's here. The key to Madam's room.
Shannon held the key up high, showing the others that it had been found. As George and Gohda watched her, their eyes opened wide. That wasn't the expression Shannon was expecting, so it startled her.
Yay! Death!
Sweet release of death. After all, Shannon hadn't noticed. George and Gohda, watching from afar, noticed it first. After all, when Shannon had held the key up high, a blizzard of gold leaf had seeped up from around the table. They were countless golden butterflies. It was the first time George had seen them, so it might have looked like some kind of illusion. But Gohda already knew. He knew that those gold butterflies were far from beautiful, and that they would bring about some kind of misfortune. And that gold swelled, trying to suck Shannon in. Shannon-san! Run!
Huh? Yeah!
Shannon also realized that fucking golden butterflies were trying to swallow her up. She ran unsteadily, her expression still shocked. As she did, the gold butterflies danced around her all at once. They grouped together. They tried to swallow her up. Shannon! Damn it, what is this? Are these the gold butterflies you guys were talking about? Outside quickly, you bastards! Damn it, damn it! George and Gohda rushed up to Shannon, driving off the cloud of butterflies. And while the butterflies were scattered, they ran towards the broken window. However, they needed a good footing to get out the window, which was surrounded by shards of broken glass. When they'd entered, there'd been enough time to prepare for that, but now there was none. Let's go out through the door. There's no time to look for a footing.
It won't open. It's stuck.
Give it to me! Damn this piece of crap! Oh! No. That's enough. George-sama, quickly! Damn it! Don't take me lightly! Whoa!
Fucking swinging at them.
Yeah. Gohda took off his jacket, swinging around and scattering the group of butterflies. But saying he was outnumbered would be a real understatement. It was doubtful that it even bought them a short amount of time. George struggled with the broken handle. Its age showed and it didn't turn well. I can't leave it to strength. It needs the right angle. There's some trick to it. George-sama, damn it! You monsters! He's got this. At that moment, Gohda saw it. He was seen by it. In other words, their eyes met. On top of the party table. No, with the stained glass behind it, floating, laughing, was the figure of the witch. He saw the figure of the laughing witch in the center of the golden whirlwind, with the gold butterflies fluttering about at the ready. Beatrice. Should have been Gohda's first meeting with her, but he knew her at a glance. Just like the other servants had said, this was certainly the witch of the portrait herself. There she is. It's almost time for dinner, is it not? I am the host of this mansion now, so I must give you a warm reception before your wonderful dinner. And look, we even have 3 people fit to order. My, how truly convenient. Whoa! It's open.
Gohda-san, quickly. Beatrice-sama.
Are you sure it's a good idea to just stand there? If you think this place will make a fitting cemetery for yourselves, then be my guests. I must praise your spirit for wanting to stay by your former master's sides and serve them even after death. The golden whirlwind that wrapped around the witch burst. It was like an evil hand had literally sprinted its fingers and was trying to attack them. The cloud of golden butterflies attacked with a fluttering sound. Hurry, we can't stay here. George's voice brought Shannon and Gohda back to their senses. Standing here now would make them like frogs getting stared down by a snake. They had to resist. They had to fight this incarnation of this new, brutal and frightening order in which Rekenjima had been enveloped. Can we turn this shit off? There was no time to take out their umbrellas. The three of them dashed out into the pouring rain. The three of them never realized because they didn't turn around that the gold butterflies apparently couldn't handle the rain too well, and this hampered their ability to chase after the humans. The three people ran from their golden pursuers and flew into the mansion. How nice, how nice! It wouldn't be as fun any other way. They unlocked the door and dashed into the room. A bit of the scent from Natsu's favorite gentle incense remained in there. However, there was no time to let that calm them now. Where is it? You said it was in the treasure box, right? It's just a story I heard. I never heard exactly what it was.
I think it'll probably be in her dresser or next to the bed.
Shannon's womanly sensibilities led her to conclude that, but next to the bed there was only an incense burner, a half-read novel, and glasses. However, the dresser was elegant and had many drawers, and it would be understandable if she'd kept some of her valuables there. Sorry. He began to violently open each one of the drawers. He had to hurry. He couldn't actually hear footsteps, but he had the feeling that the witch was approaching. He had the feeling that her laugh was approaching. He emptied the drawers one by one and examined their contents. Every small box for makeup looked like a treasure box, and the amount of effort it would take to inspect all of them made him feel a little dizzy.
Maybe it's this box. It's locked and I can't open it.
At a glance, it looked slightly larger than a music box. When shaken, it rustled as though various small objects were inside. It was locked and didn't open.
Normally you'd hide the key somewhere nearby. But some people would always carry it on their person. I don't know.
There's no choice. Break it. We can't do it with force, right? We might break the mirror inside. Could there be a tool to pry it open? Damn it! Gohda looked all over the room, trying to see if there was some tool that they could use, and he noticed the door, which had been left open ever since they'd entered. He approached the door to close it and saw the abominable shadows of people approaching from beyond the darkness in the hall. No, it wasn't shadows of people, because they weren't human at all. George-sama! Hurry! Gohda's voice trailed off. It was the shock of seeing a procession of those not of this world. He was a servant, so he knew all the servants working for the Ashumiya family, but he didn't know about these. However, they were definitely servants, and not servants working for Ashumiya Kinzu or Ashumiya Kraus.
Oh, they're back!
The goats are back! These new servants who worked for the new master of the mansion, the Golden Witch Beatrice, had goat heads and bright red bold eyes of lava.
Getting too anime for me.
This is great. As the new master laughed loudly and trimly directed 6 of the new servants, he saw them approach, piercing the darkness as they came. Of course, she was clad in golden butterflies that were her symbol. Gohda hurriedly closed the door and locked it. However, just as he locked it, he returned to normal, just as though a spring or something had knocked it back.
Oh, is that post-shadowing on what I said?
I don't know. It's a great question. What is happening? He gave the illusion that some prankster beyond the door was unlocking it every time he locked it. That couldn't have reached the other side of the door yet. So who was doing it and how? It almost felt like playing with a broken toy. Click, boing, click, boing. Whoa! It won't lock! Even if I lock it, it unlocks! What's going on? Damn it, damn it, damn it! Did you think a lock would stop me? Did you think the door to that room could hold back that room's new master? It was like the witch could see Gohda's frantic effort through the door. Even now, the footsteps continued to approach. And when not just their footsteps, but even their breath could be heard. Gohda gave up on the lock and slammed it into the door, locking it using his own large body. George-sama, quickly, quickly, quickly!
George-sama, what about this?
Letter opener. Yeah, that's better. Let me have it. The fountain pen isn't working. George took it and once again dug into the crack under the lid of the treasure box. It looks like it's working. Quickly, quickly! Yeep! Ah! The pressure from across the door grew even stronger. Gohda screamed. This wasn't a war cry during a test of strength. He was terrified. He was simply terrified that nothing but a single wooden door was stopping him from touching something not of this world. But he was still lucky. He wasn't touching the things directly, because they were on the other side of the door. So, if he were to touch them directly, Gohda's cry would surely turn from something brave into a pathetic, piercing scream, and then for one that was more real. Gohda couldn't believe what was happening right before his eyes.
That's not a goat.
Coming through the door, an arm was slipping straight through the wood like it was water, and so doing this was the most natural thing in the world, and it rubbed the back of Gohda's hand as he frantically tried to hold the door shut. It slid up his arm, to his chest, and then up to his chin. By now, Gohda's scream wasn't even audible anymore. He could hear a sweet, whispering voice from across the door. It wasn't coming from the witch, but it sounded like a young woman. However, that didn't change the fact that it came from someone not of this world.
So cute! Hey, you see it, right? The light flashing right before your eyes? Let me know when it's over, okay?
Ah! Oh, shit!
Thanks. It's over already, isn't it?
Whoa! That was a lot more intense than what we got last time.
Yep, that was the thing. Oh shit. Stakes are here. That lewd arm burst. Then they heard the sound of something jumping around the room at an incredible speed. They didn't know what it was. Incredibly fast, small, like steel or maybe a beetle, but when it buried itself right in the center of Gohda's chest and stopped, they realized for the first time that its true form was something like a stake with a strange design on it. Gohda's large body shook, bent backwards, and fell over. As it did, the door opened softly, even though no one was pushing it, welcoming in the new master of this room. It looked almost as though the door itself had accepted her. It's a lot of magic. It's a lot of magic!
All at once?
The Gohda attendants came in one after another, 6 of them. Then that witch came in, and the gold butterflies came in. The room was wrapped in a blizzard of gold leaf, which fell and piled up, turning it more and more into a world of gold. Yeah! Shannon, the roulette has chosen you and George. Thank me for your day of release. Do you have any regrets? You don't, do you? Receiving an engagement ring from the man you fell for and then being killed before spending your first night together. That hardly counts as a regret at all, right? You wanted him to hold you, didn't you? You wanted him to teach you a woman's joy, right? No, Shannon, you're dribbling. See, your regret is dripping down from your mouth. I can see it dribbling down from your mouth, Shannon. Crack. It was the sound of the lid to the treasure box breaking open. When George turned it over, accessories, charms, various small objects that Nazi had treasured when she was a girl fell out. Mixed in with that was a pouch that stood out from the rest. He picked it up, was immediately sure. This was it. I found it. This is it. So close and yet so far. Die! Damn it! All at once, the gold butterflies attacked George, who was hurriedly trying to remove the contents of the pouch.
Whoa!
What the fuck is going on?
What just happened?
At that time, a bright red flash
Shannon!
light up the room for an instant. Best girl! That red flash seemed to cut a hole in the cloud of gold butterflies raging around the room, drawing a circle with Shannon at the center. So the resulting scene looked truly divine, almost as though a single streak of light had cut through the clouds in this world of gold. George, who was curled in a ball, trying to protect himself from the cloud of butterflies, didn't have a clue what was going on. Then he noticed that Shannon was standing guard in front of him, shielding him, as she glared at the witch and the rest with a serious face she'd never shown him before. I'd forgotten. You're another sample of Kinder's outstanding furniture, and you've matured much more than Cannon.
How could you do that to Cannon-kun? I don't mean killing him. How could you erase his remains and even try to disgrace his honor?
Come now, Shannon! Is that why you're mad? If you're lonely because Cannon hasn't been around, just let me know and I'll let you see him whenever you like! Ooh, who's this? When the witch snapped her fingers, one of the 6 goat attendants glittered gold and changed into Cannon. It was definitely a sight to make one doubt their eyes. It was definitely Cannon's face. However, in those eyes, the glint of Cannon's integrity was nowhere to be seen. They were the hazy eyes of furniture that only obeyed the orders of the witch. George couldn't understand the scene right before his eyes, and he finally understood why Gohda and the rest had been unable to talk about what they'd seen in the servant room.
Are you enjoying this?
Yes, I am. It's always fun to reunite a pair that have been torn apart by death. After all, I get to enjoy tearing them apart by death, reuniting them, and then tearing them apart again. So, Cannon, go and play with your sister. If she knocks you about, let her see you suffer with all the anguish you can manage.
Yeah, there it is.
Shit. You ready for this shit? From the imposter Cannon's arm, a strangely shining curve extended. He planned to tear Shannon apart with that. With a single stroke, he would attack Shannon, who still hadn't prepared her heart, and...
I won't forgive you. I'll never forgive you for dishonoring the dead not just once but twice.
Enough babbling, go get killed by your brother, Shannon! I'm sure you'll bear witness to a wonderful dream! The imposter cannon certainly seemed to lunge at Shannon, drawing several purple curves, but when he flew at her, it was as though some kind of invisible wall had been placed in front of her. The wall repelled the imposter, leaving a bright red ripple on its surface. No, it didn't repel him, it smashed him. It knocked him back, turning him into golden dust, into little bits, scattering him.
Damn.
That foolish furniture, who had taken Cannon's form and even disgraced his honor after death, broke into countless gold butterflies. And then those butterflies themselves broke into pieces, and those pieces were broken to pieces until they were no longer butterflies, but a golden splash that faded away. Shannon?
George-san, please don't move from that spot. I don't want to shift the central axis.
I love that face.
Well, this is certainly a surprise. So though your face makes it look as though you wouldn't hurt a fly, you can display such power. I see, so that spirit mirror is lending you strength. But you don't have the tools or the time to draw out its true power.
Whoa!
I wouldn't let you have either of those. Wow. The spirit mirror George Crypt had let out a divine glow, displaying a strength powerful enough not to submit to wicked forces. But that glow was no match for the witch's sinister nature. This is why furniture can be frightening. That feeling like unexpectedly stubbing your little toe on the corner of a cabinet. Yes, this is why furniture can be frightening. You furniture, furniture, furniture!
I am not furniture, and right now you seem very pitiful to me.
What? Oh. What did this furniture, who hasn't lived even 100 years, just say to a 1,000-year-old witch?
You're a very pitiful person. Of course, two people in love will have regrets when they're separated, but they'll feel none of the kind of regret you're hoping for.
You dare to speak, furniture? Have you forgotten the days when you were so desperate to be tied to George that you licked my shoes?
Living with love and crawling through the muck is what humans do. If you sneer and look down on them for that, then you're far inferior to them. Especially now I pity you. How precious is it for a loving couple when they bring their love to fruition by sleeping together on their first night. It does have meaning, it definitely does, but it's completely different from what you're saying. It means something so sacred that one such as you has no right to speak of it wickedly. So I no longer have any regrets. George-san and I have sworn our love to each other. As proof, I accepted his ring. With that, our eternal vows were completed. No matter how you torture us with your wicked magic and your malice, you cannot disgrace eternity.
Ha! Don't speak in cheap ideals like some poets. Love is lost, totally meaningless unless you're sleeping together. Men are mere flies and maggots that get drawn to your female scent and crowd around you. Do you still not understand that at your age? Your despair. The very first time you witness the dark lust of that glasses man behind you, you'll be crushed, shocked, dumbfounded, stupefied. It's all useless, Shannon! Yeah, that's enough talk out of you, you furniture, furniture, furniture! Who the hell do you think you are talking like that? No matter how beautiful you try to make love sound, in the end, it's a fraud, because love is filthy, filth! Don't people become adults when they realize that? Die, you trash! Furniture, furniture scrap!
Beatrice seems really upset by this.
She seems upset, certainly. I'll turn you into a filthy maggot, then we'll see whether that glasses guy still loves you.
This is about Kizzo.
It's pretty intense, isn't it? Yeah. I'll show you that this guy's only had his eyes on your flesh. Die, you piece of crap! Don't you tell me about love! Shring, 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 shring. There it is.
Damn, Shannon.
The invisible column of light with Shannon at the center started to have bright red ripples drawn all over it at once.
Does this change in new images? The
I don't know. I don't think
shield?
so.
Let's
Wanna have a look?
No.
Nah, it's alright. The wall did its best to withstand the unseeable malice that tried to corrode in on them from all directions. What, do you actually think you're resisting? You're insignificant, you're frail, just like your cheap ideals. It's a frail pretense. You're just hiding what you don't want to see by covering it with a veil. Do you still understand? That's why you're furniture, you furniture! See, it's being erased! Crack, crunch, smack, snap! How thin you shameful Parmigiano Reggiano would be harder to cut through than this!
Why did that just skip?
We're in an intense moment. The golden windstorm that covered the room gradually began to shave the walls off the column that protected Shannon and George. The bright red ripples frantically drew a resisting pattern, but that just turned it into a red wall of despair that began to wrap the two of them up.
George-san, I'm sorry. It was too much for me after all.
Yeah, thank you. You fought for my sake. That alone makes me happy. The round wall that had once protected them was assaulted and covered with a curve of bright red ripples as it seemed to scream, and it began to suck the two of them up instead. Fuck.
Who do we get this time?
George-san, can I ask a favor?
Shannon grasped George's hand behind her, so George hugged her shoulders just as strongly. What is it?
In the end, please let me hear you say I love you.
Yeah. Seo, I will forever.
Predictable. Oh, that's new.
Yep.
That's red. That's red.
That's a big.
That's
That's
red.
a big red clock. Yep. Get fucked.
Woo! Vicious.
Yep. Beatrice is having none of that love crap.
Yeah, Beatrice has got some issues.
Clearly.
I can't wait to find out why that is.
I'm so excited.
Oh boy.
Cool. Continue this.
Let's do this.